Hello everyone, this is Wandering Tati. This time I'll show you the two splendid towers that are located in the center of Valencia, Torres de Serranos and Torres de Quart.
The topic I have in mind for this video is that of protection. As the towers once protected the walled city from attacks, I feel like it might be necessary from time to time to shield yourself and protect your own mental health. That's how I've been feeling lately, that I needed some time for myself. If the outside world seems too heavy at some point, there is nothing wrong with closing the gates for a while, I think.
Let me take you along to see the towers now. Both of them have free entrance, and you can visit them Tuesdays to Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. and on Sundays and festivities from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They are closed on Mondays. The first one we will see is this magnificent tower here, Torres de Serranos. They started being built between 1392 and 1398 by Pere Balaguer as the defenders of one of the most used accesses to the old Valencia. In 1865, the walls of the city were brought down and the towers were left standing alone. From 1586 to 1887, they were used as a prison for the nobility. Afterwards, the rear part of the towers was uncovered, and from the Plaza de los Fueros you could observe 5 rooms, with arches and vaults. Other than its main purpose of protecting the city, they were also used as a triumphal arch. Nowadays, during the last Sunday of February, the Crida takes place at its feet, in order to invite Valencians and visitors to the festivities known as Fallas. Their name and the name of the bridge that goes directly towards them is due to the fact that they provided access to people from a nearby land known as La Serranía, who were called Serranos. In La Serranía, several royal paths converge, for example, Barcelona's or Zaragoza's. The towers formed part of the medieval wall that was constructed after the retake of the city by the Christians. There was already a wall in the Roman times, and Muslims also built their own wall. The remainders of such walls can be visited today. At the time of building the newest walls, it was considered important to build some majestic doors to show off the city's power. In fact, the towers were built with a Gothic Valencian style and represent one of the most notorious works of military architecture of its time. In June 3, 1931, they were declared as a historical artistic national monument.
Between the 16th and 19th centuries, these towers were used as a prison, as there had been a fire on Casa de la Ciudad, its main prison center. The jail was shut down in 1888 after several protests due to the inhumane conditions to which their prisoners were subjected inside.
Two curiosities about the towers. First, unlike the towers of Quart that we will see shortly, which suffered substantial damage during the Napoleonic invasions, the towers of Serranos were never victims of military confrontations. And the second curiosity, during the Civil War, several works of art were transported from Madrid's El Prado Museum in order to be preserved in the towers. The towers of Serranos have symmetrical shape and its height is 33 meters.
They are unprotected in their backside, in what is called an open rim construction.
I read that this is due to 3 reasons. First, in case the towers were taken by enemies, they will not be able to make a fort with them. Second, so that the militaries defending them could not use them against the city. And third, so that the disposition of the balcony and the oriel towards the interior of the city would enhance the entrances of important people, such as kings and queens. You can indeed observe wonderful views of the city from its balconies. end of the old river, now green space area, to the other side. The towers are a work of stone formed by two large pentagonal cubes that flank the door itself, in a semicircular arch. The model of inspiration is thought to have been the royal gate at the Poblet monastery, but the gate in Valencia is larger. The interior facade has large openings topped with arches, conceived as tribunes at different heights where the main families of the city were located to follow the popular celebrations or the entrance of important personalities.
You can visit both towers in one go. After only a 10-minute walk or so, you will arrive to Torres de Quart.
Located at Guillén de Castro Street, crossing with Quart Street, more precisely at Plaza Santa Úrsula, and built between 1441 and 1460 by Pere Comte and Francesc Baldomar, following the model of Castelnuovo Towers at Naples that were built by Alfonso el Magnánimo, they are an example of late military Gothic construction.
Projected as defensive doors of the city, they were named until 1874 as Torres de la Cal, due to the fact that up until the 18th century it was demanded that cal would arrive to the city through there.
The posterior facade was uncovered so that its interior could be seen, and it was destined for quite some time as a women's prison. These towers constitute another of the doors of the medieval wall that surrounded the old town. Its interior fulfilled different purposes. For instance, in 1562 they were used as a warehouse for gunpowder. In 1623, the municipal council agreed that they would be habilitated as a women's prison, and in 1813 they were used as a military prison, and it lasted until 1932. The Towers of Quart were a key element to stop the Napoleonic troops during the Independence War against the French in 1808. You can actually still see the marks of cannons in the towers.
The edification is formed by three bodies, the two towers of cylindrical shape, built in mortar and seated on a base in the form of a slope, and the main body of rectangular shape, where the portal opens, formed by a semicircular stone arch.
You know, as I was mentioning before, some things are worth protecting. And I think there's nothing wrong with shielding yourself behind a metaphorical wall and watch the world from inside the tower for a while. Not to stay in there forever, but long enough to allow yourself to heal and be better equipped to face adversity. And of course, you can let some trustworthy knights in to help you defend your city. They will help you face your enemies and be by your side once you are ready to get out.
Okay, I will stop with the corny metaphor now.
Please let me know about you in the comments. Do you feel like you may need to protect yourself from the world lately?
Would you stay to live forever inside an experience machine where you'll be totally protected and only experience nice things if you would immediately forget that you are connected to it and think that that is actually your real life?
And on a lighter note, have you been to the towers? Would you like to pay them a visit? So that is all for my video of the 2 towers of Valencia. I really hope you liked it. If you did, please hit the like button to let me know. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon if you would like to be notified whenever I upload a new video. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Until next time!